This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and I'm with WWE, NWA, WCW legend, manager, general manager, referee. He's done it all. He's even wrestled a little bit here and there. The Godfather, Teddy Long. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Very, very good. I want to say one thing to you too, just before we get started. A lot of the podcasts and a lot of the shows, I don't do them. I refuse to do them because there are a lot of people that put stuff out there that say that I said something that I didn't say. So I do want you to know that, man, I see where you talk to a lot of good people, a lot of great people, and you seem real professional, and I'm just honored to be right here to be able to be on your show.
Thank you. Well, we're honored to have you. We're glad we could set this up. The questions today are going to be mostly fan questions because I was bombarded with a lot of fan questions. So we're not necessarily going to go by a timeline. They'll kind of be all over the place.
Okay, just whatever you want to do, man.
Now, there is a guy, Johnny, asking right now if you're ever going to write an autobiography. Many people ask this, so let's start by answering this question.
Let me say this to Johnny. What's going on with you, player? Certainly, I thought about it. I thought, when I came home this time, I thought I was going to be able to kind of rest and, kind of work on a book, as so to speak. But I wasn't able to do that because, I'm still active now. People are still calling me. In fact, I'm involved with a great organization. Down in Texas. It's called SWE Fury. I'm the general manager there, and we're on a lot of TV stations. Hopefully, we'll be coming on one out in the Canada area. But anyway, like I said, if the day that I get ready to write that book or that autobiography will be the day that I'm just really done. There's no more going out, no more meeting and greeting, no more. It's just coming home and staying home with the wife and enjoying the rest of my life. But right now, I'm still active, so I hadn't really thought about it, man, because in this business here, things can happen that you never would have thought of happen. So I'm just going to keep on waiting because I may have something to happen to me that I might need to put in the book that, if I wrote it too soon, I wasn't able to do that. So I think the better stuff in the book, the better the book's going to sell. So hopefully I got some more good stuff left in me, and a lot of good stuff's going to be happening, and we can put that in the book, and we can make it a bestseller.
Mike would like to know what your thoughts are on Kamala passing. I was lucky enough to do an interview with him before he passed away, and I wrestled him before. He was a great guy in my dealings.
Well, I had the opportunity to meet him too. What a nice guy. I mean, super nice guy. And, certainly we lost a great one, when we lost Kamala, one of the great guys, that contributed a lot to our business. Like I said, man, in this business here, you have to kind of take care of yourself, and a lot of guys, back in the day, they just didn't get that. They didn't understand, the importance of maybe eating right or getting in the gym, training, and trying to look out for your body and your blood pressure. A lot of people just wasn't aware of it. They didn't know it. I was one of those guys that didn't know it, but I was happy to start training because I was with a couple of guys that were gym rats, and that was Butch Reed and Ron Simmons. So by me starting managing them, they had me going to the gym, and after I started going, I kind of liked it on my own. So, just, I think, Kamala, like I said, rest in peace. But, and this is something to let everybody else know, as long as you're alive, you're able to take care of yourself. As long as you're alive, you're able to do the right thing for your body. So don't sit down and think just because I can't move around or I can't do this or that. There's no such thing. So please, it's never too late. Start trying to take care of yourself, and you'll see what I mean. We're all going to go. We all got a day we're going to go, but I do believe that we can rush it. And I believe you rush it by not taking care of yourself, by not seeing about your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and everything else that has to do with the body. So, just take care of yourself, man. And like I said, to Kamala's family and, for me and I know all the guys that knew him, what a great guy, and may he rest in peace.
Now, you mentioned Doom, the team of Butch Reed and Ron Simmons. What was it like managing those two? They're known as two of the legitimately most tough wrestlers ever.
Well, it was really, a lot of fun, and I was also able to, get myself over because, I'm this little bitty guy, and I'm just out here running my mouth talking all this smack, and these two big guys are standing behind me, just ready to beat up anybody. So, it was just great, because I talk the talk and they walk the walk. So it was just so much fun managing them, and they were so dominant in the ring. We had great matches with the Road Warriors, and let's mention while since we're on that, let's say rest in peace to Joe Laurinaitis, Animal there. Just something real tragic to see him pass away. And I had been working closely with him also. He was a part of our team at SWE Fury, and we had a lot of great plans. That we're gonna do with him, and there was gonna be like this. Road Warrior Tag Team Invitational Tournament that we were going to start, and he was going to be running that. But we are going to continue that. That is still going to happen. And next week, next Tuesday, the October the 14th, next Wednesday, we will be there at the Lava Cantino, and we will be doing a tribute to Road Warrior Animal, big tribute to him. So we'll be talking more about that. And like I said, we worked with the Road Warriors. They had great matches with Flair and On, part of the Horsemen. They had great matches with the Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. I mean, Doom, they were on fire. So it was just back in the day, it was a lot of fun too. So it was a great time for me, managing those two guys. And I learned a lot, especially from Butch Reed. He had the opportunity to be, a part of the business a lot longer than me. So that's how you survive in this business. You learn and you learn, how to play the game, and you might hang around for a while.
There was a few fans that wanted me to ask you if Butch Reed's personal demons were pretty much through by the time you started to get involved with him, because he was known for, I guess that's why he was released by WWE, having some issues that I know he's since overcome.
Well, I don't think that Butch Reed had any demons, anything like that. I mean, back in the day, everybody drank alcohol, and so that's the only problem that Butch had. He liked to drink, you know what I mean? And that wasn't just him, me, I like to drink then too. I was having a good time too. So I don't think any demons had nothing to do with it. Sometimes, you can let something, overtake you, and sometimes I think maybe Butch may have drank too much. You know what I mean? So, things like that happen, but I wouldn't consider them being no demons. He just liked to drink, but he's overcome all that now. And in fact, since you brought that up, Butch and Run, October 24th, I think that's when we're doing it. But anyway, it's on the High Spots Network. We're going to be doing an auction there at High Spots Network. And so you guys can look that up online too, and you'll get a chance to see Butch Reed. Butch Reed will certainly be there with us. And it's not very often, we get a chance that the whole team is together. So Butch and Run will be there at the High Spots Network. I believe it's on the 24th, but just go to High Spots Network and you'll see it on there. But Butch and Run, great team.
And as far as their matches with the Legion of Doom, as you just brought up, what are your memories of that feud? Both of those teams were known to be very tough in real life, and both had the reputation of guys you didn't want to mess with.
Well, yeah. It was those guys were pretty tough. I think we had a great story one time. I think we was in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I really believe it where it was, and I think they were working with the Road Warriors there. And I think I did something. I may have jumped up and caused a distraction or something. And I hit Paul Ellering with the key. I used to have this key, and I hit Paul Ellering with the key. And this guy was sitting in the crowd there. I never forget that. And he was so mad at me till he jumped out of his seat. He grabs me. Now I think this Butcher Run, they're trying to get this guy off of me. So then there's a big fight breaks out. But anyway, the police finally get there. They grab the guy and they take him in the back in the back, and then when he gets in the back, he's trying to explain himself, and the next thing I know, the police are having to fight with him. He's trying to fight the police too, so that was pretty horrifying.
And they also feuded with the Skyscrapers off and on, both incarnations of the Skyscrapers. Any memories of those teams?
Well, yeah, like I said, they were like basically the first tag team I had there. Sid Vicious and Dangerous Dan Spivey. What a great couple of guys. Learned a lot from Dan Spivey too. He was a guy that had a lot of knowledge about this business. Learned a lot of stuff with Sid. So great team. And but like I think the problem
Oh, we may have lost him. Oh, you're back now.
Be back. I'm back. Somebody was trying to call, so I declined it. All right. Yeah, getting back to Sid and Danny, another great team. Had to manage them. I learned a lot with Danny and learned from Sid. And let's see, we had good matches too. I'm trying to figure out, like some of the guys that we worked with. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. We worked with this team one time in San Antonio, I believe is what it was. Dallas Fort Worth. I can't remember the name, but there were a couple of guys that were just coming in to do jobs. And I remember this is on YouTube too. You can probably pull it up. And this guy here didn't want to sell nothing. And I think Sid power bombed him. He jumped right back up. Spivey clotheslined him. He jumped right back up. And brother, they just looked at him. And the next thing I knew, they beat him to death. I mean, it was like a death wish. So I mean, you know what I'm saying. Guys, he knew better. You know what I mean. You know what this business is. You know what I mean. Just go out and do your job. But it was great working with them. I wrote with Danny a little bit more than I did with Sid, so me and Danny kind of traveled together for a while. And like I said, most of every team that I had, I really didn't have no really problem with. I was able to get along with everybody.
Are you surprised on how well The Undertaker ended up doing? I think he was mean Mark Callis when he started as the Skyscrapers.
Oh yeah, I managed him in WCW too. He was like you say, he was Ming Marcalis, so I had a chance to manage him. But the way that I got it is at the time I think his contract came up or something. He went in to talk to Ole Anderson, and I think he was the booker at that time. But the way that I got it, he went in to talk with Ole, and Ole wasn't too fond of the Undertaker. Ole said something about he would never draw any money or something like that, and he didn't have no talent. And Ole offered him some kind of ridiculous price or something that it just really was like peanuts. And so Taker refused it and told him goodbye and went straight on to New York. And the next thing we know, we see here comes the Undertaker. So Vince McMahon knew what he had, but back in the day in this business, a lot of times, a lot of guys see and they know what you have, and just because sometimes they have the power, they'll do something that they know is wrong or that they shouldn't do, but they do it anyway because they got the power to do it. So they really missed it back there with Taker because, like I said, you see what happened when he went straight to New York. He became the Undertaker, and he's still hot right up this day.
You mentioned Danny, Spivey, and Sid roughing up that guy that didn't want to sell. You've managed so many legitimately tough wrestlers. Who would you say is the toughest of all the wrestlers that you managed? If you could have one guy to back you up.
Oh, wow. I had this guy that was back in the day. A lot of people may not remember him, but he was Sergeant Craig Pittman, and I'm not sure what his rank was, but I think he had been in the army or been in the service or somewhere. But he was tough. He was the real deal, and I mean he was so tough. And I think and I believe this is correct that Eric Bischoff had him to train his kid. To do. Yeah, Eric's kid. He learned something from Craig Pittman, but he was a legit tough guy. I managed him, and I tell you, Butch Reed and Ron Simmons were pretty tough too. They didn't take no stuff either. Those you didn't want to make them mad. You didn't want to piss them off. And I worked with another guy that I've had a chance to manage a little bit with Steve Dr. Dale Williams, which was another tough guy. And so, like I said, Butch and Ron were pretty tough. Uh, uh, Spivey, yeah, he was another tough guy. So it was a lot of tough, a lot of guys I managed. Back in the day. I mean, you had to be tough back then because I mean, when you stepped into the ring, you didn't fool around. You worked.
I think your wife might be in the same room as you, but there's a lot of fans that have asked how were the groupies back in the old days of wrestling? Was it as good for the managers and referees as it was the wrestlers?
Uh, well, not not really as good for the managers or the referees or it was for the boys, because the boys were kind of the guys that were always in the spotlight. But the managers, got a chance, to be all right too, because there was always somebody that liked the manager, so the manager wasn't left out. So, like I said, back then, back in the day, man, it was great. Guys would have a lot of groupies. You didn't have to worry about renting no cars or nothing because they'd show up. Way back when we used to be at the old TVS studios, they had the girls that would pick the guys up from the airport and bring them to the studio and wait there on them and then pick them up, take them back to the airport, or either take them to the hotel or drive them around or anything they had to do. So you didn't have to worry about no rental cars and then some guys were lucky enough that the girls paid for their rooms and stuff, already had their hotel rooms and stuff laid out for them. So it was for the wrestlers, it was pretty good for some wrestlers.
Now, I understand you had to go to wrestlers' court twice backstage in WWE. What is that for people that don't know? And is it true you were brought to that?
Yeah, wrestler's court was well, when you kind of did wrong, they'd have to rectify you. So Undertaker was the judge, and so they took me to wrestler's court twice. And the first time they took me to wrestler's court is because I was selling Viagra to the boys. So they were gonna try and give me this big sentence about the Viagra, so I didn't have no lawyer, so I ended up having to get Mae Young, God rest her soul. Mae Young was my lawyer, and so when I took Mae Young in there with me to wrestler's court to defend me, we almost had my case won, and Mae Young yells out and she says Niagara instead of Viagra. So that was a description right there. So that's how I lost my case. And so I ended up having to buy a bunch of beer and a bunch of food and stuff. That was part of my sentence. But Wrestler's Court was pretty good. I just enjoy watching other people, but they got me twice.
I'm going to guess they don't do that as much anymore because every year things seem to get more and more corporate back there.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is left out. We used to do a lot of stuff. We used to have a lot of fun, backstage. Sometimes we had more fun backstage than we did when we went out to perform in front of the live audience because, everybody was happy, everybody, everybody's involved in something and whatever you were involved in, it was getting over. It was good on TV when you went out. You got a tremendous pop or they liked you, they cheered you. If they hated you, they booed you. I mean, you got that. You got what you were. And so it was just great, to be working. It was the Attitude Era day, so it was great to be working back then. So we just used to have a lot of fun backstage. We used to do a lot of stuff, and just to pull pranks. But like I said, like you said, it's kind of more corporate now, and you don't really have any guys that really, the I think the morale is a little bit different now than it was back then. So you just don't have too much going on.
There's a fan on here that wants to know what it was like on the road with JBL and Ron Simmons when you traveled with them.
Oh, we're absolutely great ride with Ron and John. I love that because they knew I was cheap, so I really never had to really pay for nothing. I attempt to pay, but like we get to this toll booth, and I'd be reaching, like I'm looking for the money, but I know you can't just stand there at the toll booth. You got to hold up all the traffic, so I just stall around until somebody in the car paid, because I know we had to go on through the booth. So then I told them I'd just catch them, later. I give it to them. So, but they did a lot of stuff to me too, So, but they were fun. It was great, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people heard the story about the time I left Run in the snow. Uh, we had Godfather. It was me, Godfather, JBL, Ron. We were all in the car, and we're on our way to Albany, New York. So it starts snowing, man. I mean, it's coming down. So we end up getting a case of beer, because that was a ride back in the day. You get a case of beer and hit the road. And so, once you start drinking beer, everybody gotta, go to the John. And so, a lot of times you couldn't wait to find a bathroom because, up there around New York, the exits are so far apart. So I pull over to the side so everybody gets out, and use the bathroom. It's kind of dark, like it's really not day, so you can kind of get away with it. So I got out, everybody got back. I got back in the car. I was driving, so I wasn't really paying much attention. I thought everybody was in the car. So I see, I think Godfather made no John. JBL. He was the last one. He got in the car, so he gets in the car. car, I shut the door, and I drive off. So he looks at me and asks me, "What am I doing?" I said, "We're going to New York. What are you talking about?" Then he tells me that I left Ron back there in the snow. So I couldn't find no exit. So I had went almost a half a mile. So I had to get back on the shoulder, and I had to bag all the way up at least a half a mile to go back to pick him up. And when I did get back there, he was just like a snowman. He's covered in snow. And he said to me, "Damn," and that was before that he ever started using the word "damn" on TV. But he said, "Damn, Long." That was his words.
And as far as JBL's, the rumors out there that he was a backstage bully, did you witness any of that? Obviously, it was usually directed at the young wrestlers, so I don't think he would have tried anything with you.
Who? What? I didn't get that question.
Oh, like what is your opinion on the rumors out there of the people that say that JBL used to like to bully the younger wrestlers? Did you ever witness any of that?
JBL was never that's not true. He didn't never bully anybody. You know what I mean? John was just a funny guy. He just liked to have a lot of fun. And sometimes, maybe he might rub you the wrong way, or he might say something, that some people take it a different way. But John, I mean, you couldn't find a nicer guy, man. So I don't think it was no bullying there. Some people took it that way, you know what I mean, and just said, well, I know this guy's so big, he's just bullying me, making me, just talking to me any kind of way. But there were a lot of guys, that you talk to any kind of way that kind of needed that, you know what I mean? Because they come into our business and they just, want to take over and just, do whatever they wanted to do, and it didn't work like that. Everybody there, they paid their dues. People worked hard to try to make it to the top and to get where they were. And then you got some guy walking the door and think it's just gonna be, you just gonna step right over everybody. So it's a little bit of, it's what we call respect, and that's on any job. That's on you too, Devin. I mean, you say some guy just came on your show and completely took over, just disrespected you. You wouldn't put up with that. So it's just a lot of things, a lot of people they get mad because they can't have it their way or they didn't have it their way, and then they want to say the guy was a bully and all that. But I never seen him bully anybody. All I seen him stand up and just talk to people pretty rough. But he talked to me rough. We didn't care. I mean, we was all joking. It was all in fun.
And they inducted you into the Hall of Fame, didn't they? What did that mean to you?
Uh, that was really a big surprise because I never uh would have thought anything like that. I didn't, you know what I mean? I mean, I was proud of what I did. I was proud of my work, but I never did really think about going in the Hall of Fame because I always looked at that as, that was for wrestlers, guys that put their bodies on the line every night, and I just never even thought about it. So when that they called me with that one, that was really big. That was really a big surprise. So. At least that showed me that somebody appreciated what I did, and I think that's what a lot of guys need too. You know what I mean? Sometimes it ain't always got to be the Hall of Fame. Sometimes you can just be told, you've done a good job or something. But make it to the Hall of Fame and get that prestigious, laid upon you. I mean, I it's one of the greatest things that happened to me, and I went all the way back to, when I started and broke in and, all the ups and downs and, and stuff, you know what I mean? So, somebody, felt I deserved it. And that was the McMahons. And I thank them very much.
Neo GX1 is asking if you could share your thoughts on the Benoit tragedy, and did you ever get the chance to meet Nancy?
Well, I was right there pretty much close to that. Nancy, when I broke in the wrestling business, I broke in under a guy named Kevin Sullivan. And Kevin Sullivan was married to Nancy. Kevin and Nancy were married, and so I rode with them, and I knew Nancy, way before I even knew Chris Benoit. So, there was just this thing that they started this little angle at TV that they were going to do, which would have ended up, I think there was somewhere Nancy was supposed to be involved with Benoit, and Kevin was supposed to find out about it, and then it was supposed to turn into a big match or something, and they were going to have at a big pay-per-view. So, like I said, I don't know what happened, what went wrong, but all I know is that after a while, then Kevin and Nancy were split up, and then there was Chris and Nancy. So then I had a chance to, ride with them when doing that whole little segment too. So uh, just two great people. Nancy, especially, I knew her from day one. Man, when like I said, I first broke in, she was married to Kevin, and she was woman. She managed a lot of guys too, and she was also down in Florida with Kevin Sullivan and the Dungeon. And like I said, my wife had a chance to, we weren't even married at the time, but my wife had a chance to ride with me, and she had a chance to meet Nancy too. So they were really real close too. So she knew her too. So, just a real tragic loss.
As far as Kevin Sullivan, I've done a lot of interviews with him. He appears on this channel a lot. Do you have any stories about Kevin you could share with us?
Um, let's see. Jesus, I don't know, man.
I understand you both like to
Wow.
smoke weed, from what I understand. Or at
Huh?
one point you did. At one point, didn't you guys both like smoking weed here and there?
Oh, well, yeah, we did that. Well, I like doing that now, so it's no big deal. Yeah, we did that. Oh, I know. Here's a good story. Uh, where were we at? We were in Amarillo, Texas. I believe it might have been Amarillo. And so we was in this hotel room, and so we're smoking in this hotel room, and so the scent went out, and I guess somebody smelled it, and so the people smelled it. Then I guess they called the front desk, so the front desk called the police. So the police come upstairs, man, and they checking out it. But only I think all we had was a journey. Something so we smoked it up. We didn't have nothing else. So they come in looking for stuff, and so I had this stuff they used to call magic shave. It was like a paste. You could mix it up in water and make a powder out of it, and that's how I used to shave. And but it stinks so bad, man. It was the stinkiest stuff you could ever smell. But it's called magic shave. And so what I did, they were gonna lock us up, and so what I did, I went and got the magic shave, and I mixed up some in this cup. And I told the guy, the police, and I showed it to him. And I said, "Take this." I said, "This is what they smell." And you could smell it. It was all over the room, and he smelled that, and they told me, said, "Oh, okay." And so they let us go, man. They didn't. They thought they were smelling, thought the scent that they called about was the magic shade.
And Dorian wants to know if you have any good memories of being in the city of Baltimore. I know that was a big NWA WCW town back in the day.
Yeah, the greatest memory I had there is with the Jim Crockett Cup. I was able to be a part of that, and I remember I had a chance to, at the Magnum TA had the car accident and everything. I was there to, to walk him down to the ring and be a part of the Jim Crockett Cup. So that's one of my big fond memories of Baltimore, Maryland.
There's been a few fans on here that want to know your Dusty Rhodes story. That I'm not really familiar with it, but apparently you have some Dusty Rhodes story.
Well, I don't know any story he's talking about. The only thing is, Dusty, God rest his soul too. He was one of the people that gave me my first job. So only thing good story I can tell you about him is when I was first started breaking into business, when I was refereeing and just hanging out at the TV station, just getting jackets. I used to run errands too, so I'd go and get lunch and stuff. Like the production people, like Jim Crockett, JJ Dillon. He was one of the agents, and all the people that were in the production. And so Dusty would bring me in there, and before I could get their order or something, or either I would go and get everything and bring it back, and he wouldn't let me leave. He would make me sit down in there and just wait, in case, somebody else wanted something, I wouldn't have to come back. But I always took it like that. But, I finally found out after I stayed in this business so long, till he was really training me, he was learning me. And because after I started working for a while, then I started remembering some of that stuff that I heard in that room that they were talking about, and then all everything started making sense to me. So that's how I was really able to really develop my own character and stuff because I finally figured out, okay, I know what this is.
Now, you already mentioned this, but Bill just tipped me $25 and he's wondering if you have any other stories you could share about Ron Simmons and JBL.
Uh, no, not. Uh, oh, okay. I think one night. Let's see. Whoa. It may have been Albany, Georgia. No, not Albany, Georgia. We was in Albany, New York again. Uh, and that's when Ron and John, they were doing the APA. And so I think we were in this bar. I believe it was a Holiday Inn. I believe we were in this bar, and John and Ron, they doing their usual. There wasn't no APA. They just like to drink at the time. They drank. So they were drinking. I was sitting there, and so we drank and eating. So some guy comes over and he sees them, and so he starts wanting to buy him drinks. You know what I mean? And he really challenged John. He told John that he could outdrink him. I could drink way more tequila than you or something. So that was pretty bad. He shouldn't have never done that. So he ended up buying all these drinks, man. And so they drank him right under the table. And he drank so much till he passed out. And he had his girlfriend with him. And so some guy that was sitting over at another table just came over, took the guy's girlfriend, took her on with him. And this guy was passed out, was sitting there trying to outdrink John and Ron.
Now, there's a story that I'm sure, while you said it, it's all over the internet of Ric Flair allegedly calling you the N-word. This Forever Tired 2000 is wondering if he ever apologized for that.
No, I don't think. I mean, if he had, I would know. No, he hasn't. But here's the thing about that. You know what I mean? Sometimes people don't apologize, like come up to you and say, "I apologize." Sometimes they can speak to you, maybe try and hold a conversation with you to let you know in so many words. Hey, I'm sorry about that. But like I said, I ain't never really expected that, and I really don't really care because I put that all behind me. I was able to make it, and I was able to show people, that had that negative about me and said that I would never make it, and I had no talent. I was able to prove them wrong. So that was good enough for me. So I don't need no apologies. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm just telling the truth. It is what it is. That's what happened.
What is the story behind that for those that don't know? I've only heard people say that he allegedly called you that, but I've never actually heard the story myself.
Well, like one time in Knoxville, Tennessee, I think, and I never remember there were some girls that were trying to come into the back door, getting in the back of the arena, and then I think he was maybe at that door, and they said some girls threw me under the bus. I don't even know who they were. I'm refereeing. I don't know these people, and they said that used my name and said that I told them that they could come in or they could come to the back door or something like that. And so he runs into me, and the next thing I hear him says to me, Ian, do you like working here?
I guess
That's
in
what
the
it
old
was.
days, it was maybe more common. I'm not saying that that's right at all, but I've heard Tony Atlas say in interviews with me that it wouldn't be that uncommon to hear that word in the dressing room in the 80s. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's
Or
pretty much correct. But my thing was like this. You know what I mean? You're gonna hear a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So just say what I learned to do it this way. You say what you want to say. Just don't put your hands on me. That's when you got a problem. So like I said, I got so used to hearing that till you know what I mean. I ain't. And a lot of times, a lot of people say it to use it to try and get you to fire yourself. And that's what a lot of guys didn't understand either. They couldn't take it. You know what I mean? When they heard it, they just went, off. But that was a trick. You know what I mean? They'll get you, where like, well, you can't come in here fighting and stuff. So you're fired. But you actually fired yourself because you let it get to you. You didn't know how to play the game.
yeah, there's a lot of backstage politics for the people that have never been in wrestling that don't know about it. But it's a lot like high school back there. Maybe not so much today, but probably today. But it was really bad in the 80s.
Well, yeah, I was part of that. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was just completely blessed to be able to, survive all the negative part of it, and I was coming up for as refereeing and managing. And then, like I said, I never will forget, man, Gene Oakland, God rest his soul, and Bobby Heenan, another man, God rest his soul. They came into WCW when a lot of guys that left WWE, left New York and came down to WCW. And they stopped me in the hall one day. I think it was where we were. I'm not sure, but they told me to my face. They said, if Vince McMahon knew what you could do, he would blow you up. And that's what those two guys told me. And I never did forget that. And when I finally made it to New York in 1998, I finally went there, and then especially after I went through the refereeing and the managing, and then I was, God bless me, and I was able to land the job of general manager, and that really meant that I had to get out there, and I had to, do my thing, and to be able to, show him and prove to him that I could be what he wanted me to be out there. Because, like I said, when I started working for him, I found out that this was strictly business. This is about money. You don't play with this. You know what I mean? This is billions of dollars here. So when you go out on that TV, you're out there for a reason. And you also got to learn when you walk out on that TV, don't go out there and go in business for yourself. You go remember who you are, remember what your role is, know what you're supposed to do. And I learned all that. And that's, in fact, Vince made a better person out of me, because in WCW, I had a chance to slack a lot because people wouldn't tell me when I was doing wrong. So my basically training was on the job training. So, like I said, it's just, I'm just glad, to be able to make it.
Jordan is wondering what your all-time biggest payday was. Maybe you don't want to tell us the amount, but maybe you could tell us what match or pay-per-view that may have been for.
Uh, I think the biggest payday I got one time, I don't remember what day it was, but it was a royalty check I got. I think that I was on the 2007, 2008 a video game, SmackDown versus Raw, I believe that was the game. But that I was on that video game, so I got this check. I think it was about $80,000, and I off a video game. So that was the biggest payday I got.
Yeah, those are some of the nice benefits of working for WWE, getting those checks in the mail that you're
Well,
not.
back then, in the Attitude Era, everything was good. I mean, the arenas, were packed. Everything was selling out. Pay-per-views were packed. Merchandise was selling. Action figures. Anything that you were involved in, you was able to make money. So, business was good. Because there were people there that were, putting them in the seats. You had The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. A lot of great talent there. Kane, Undertaker, people, what I mean, that, knew their job. And when they went out there, they entertained you, and they made people, want to come see them. And that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? You entertain them, make the people want to come see you. And so I learned that part too. So, I was able to, have a good run with that. People enjoyed watching me come out and work. And when I found out they enjoyed it, then I entertained them.
Wrestler wants to know, what was it like managing Rodney Mack? I don't think Rodney Mack ever reached his full potential.
Well, with Rodney, it was real great. That's when I first started managing. I was a heel, and we was doing the thing called the White Boy Challenge, and that was really great. And Vince McMahon was the author that he wrote that. That was his stuff, and so I was able to go out and pull that off. And so managing Rodney was great. Rodney, what a great worker. But like you said, he never did reach it either. But then Rodney, he got hurt a couple of times, and that kind of slowed him down a little bit. You know what I mean? Injuries can kind of give you a setback. And so I think some of his injuries, kind of set him back a little bit. And so, in this business here, trying to play catch up, that's really rough. And him being married to Jazz, and then, they got a family, and so they're trying to raise their kids and stuff. So there's a lot of pressure out there. But but what am doing now, I'm happy to to be able to work with both of them. And like I said, I'm in this company. It's called SWE Fury. I'm the general manager there, and Rodney Mack is part of a tag team with us. It's called Perfect Enemy. And Jazz, we retired her, and we're going to put her in the SWE Hall of Fame. And Jazz is going to be also helping us backstage. I want her to become an agent and start helping with the ladies, with the girls matches, and make sure that girls know what they're doing out there. And then we're also getting to start a school dojo camp, SW Fury camp. Kids, guys that want to get involved in professional wrestling and get trained. And Jazz will be one of the trainers in there. So her and Rodney also. So, because Rodney, I think he's about ready to try to, let it, hang it up and just sit back and try to, train guys and just give back, and try to help the young kids and try to help them make it.
Bill was nice enough to give me a $50 tip, and he wants to know what your favorite role in wrestling was. Not paying attention to money. Did you prefer being a referee, manager, or GM?
Well, I preferred being, the GM, because with the GM, you know what I mean, I had a chance. Not only did that role, make entertain the people, it helped me. I learned a lot, because you had to learn a lot when you walked out on that TV and you stayed out there as much as I did. You had to be, you had to learn, how to keep that audience, how to keep people where they're not tired of looking at you, not tired of seeing you. Either when they do see you, they're ready to see you. Okay, well, here's Teddy Long. Now we're gonna get this straightened out. And so being with Vince and following his orders, because he knew when to put me out there and when not to put me out there. So, it's just, and I learned all that too, and that's some stuff now that I can share with these guys that I'm working with. I know when it's too much, and I know when it's not enough. So there's a lot of stuff you have to learn. So like I said, I really enjoyed being a general manager, because you're at the top of the line. Then that's just like wearing the title, just like being the world champion. So you learn. If you don't learn it there, you ain't gonna never get it. And to show you that I learned it, I was in that spot for 9 years.
And you were in the ring when the unfortunate incident happened, where I guess something happened where D'Lo Brown ended up paralyzing Draws due to some type of mishap. What was your reaction to that? And did you know it was as serious as it ended up being, paralyzing him at the time?
Well, at the time, it was really frightening to me too, because that was the first time, I'd ever been in the ring with something, that terrifying to happen. Uh, what I think is they were both sweaty there, and then a lot of times, when guys got ready to go to the ring, a lot of times guys put on body oil. You know what I mean? They put oil on the body. So the only thing I can remember there, I remember D'Lo picking Draws up, as to set him up for maybe like a pile driver. And as he went to pick him up, I just, only thing I can say, I think Dito, he slipped. Like I said, like guys have oil on their hands or something, just sometimes maybe too much oil. But anyway, I think, Dilo dropped him, or he slipped. And when he did drop him, he dropped him straight on his head, and it was like a spike. He like spiked his head. And I never forget, I was over talking to him, and he was saying to me, you know what I mean? He couldn't hardly breathe. He couldn't get his breath much, and he just kept, saying he felt like he was gonna die, and he kept saying stuff. And that was the first time that happened, in my career too. So I'm giving a signal, trying to let everybody know that, what's going down in there. And so that's a pretty rough night.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Do you think they throw up the X almost too freely now? It seems like every
Well,
show or every second show we're seeing it up.
Well, I think, they're doing the right thing now, you know what I mean? Because, back in the day, guys, this was in your blood, you know what I mean? And when you were out there performing, and sometimes you could get hurt, and, you still didn't want to stop. And I'll tell you a little bit of story. One time I remember Jazz, she blew her shoulder out. And right in the match, she blew it right out. And brother, we didn't, she didn't want to stop. And I walked right over to her. You know, I was manager at the time, and I walked right over to her, and on the side of the apron right there, she was on the outside, and I just grabbed her arm, and I just snatched it, and I snatched her shoulder. I pulled it right back in. Just the luck of the draw. You know, it's all I can say. And Jazz stepped right back in, went right back to wrestling. So like I said, right now, you know, you can't take any chances. So anybody, any sign of somebody getting hurt, they throw it up right away because, you know, you can't let a guy continue to go on. He may have a concussion. You know, something could be wrong. All you know is what you see on the outside. We don't know what's going on in the inside. So I agree with them. If somebody gets hurt, they need to throw that sign up right away and get, you know, in fact, make the guy stop and, you know, get him out of there.
There's been a few fans on here that have wanted to know how your dealings were with CM Punk.
I had a great relationship with CM Punk. CM Punk is one of the people now. There are a few people that around Christmas time I have a chance to call and wish them Merry Christmas, and also a lot of other holidays. I had a great relationship with Punk. I love Punk. I'll never forget. You know, I stay in the gym. I do a lot of cardio, and I remember one time we was overseas, and he bet me $100 that I couldn't do 2 hours of cardio. So I did this 1 hour. So I got off and, you know, went to the bathroom, relieved myself, and jumped back on, did the other hour. So after that, you know, we really got tight. And I never will forget one time me and him was in Laredo, Texas, and we were running in the, you know, jogging in the street, man. It was, I knew it had to be 120 degrees. It was just crazy, man. That's the first time I did that, though. But I had to hang there with him. But I had a great relationship with CM Punk. He was a great guy, man.
Bill tipped me another $75. He's a big fan. He wants to know if you have any stories about Paulie Dangerously.
No, not really. You know what I mean? I saw him, you know, back in the day when he was managing, I think the Samoan SWAT team, maybe back in the day. Then I think one time he used to ride with he was good friends with Kevin Sullivan too, and so he was back there riding with us. And so I think what they would used to do to Paul is every time they get mad with Paul or they want to annoy him, Kevin had a kid named Ben, and Ben would boy he could really get on your nerves. And so whenever they want to punish Paul, they would take Ben and they would load Ben up with candy, and they would put Ben in the car with Paul, and Ben would just jump all over him out the whole drive. He's all on his neck. He's just driving him nuts. So that's the only basic story I know about Paul.
Now, I understand you witnessed a situation where Steve Blackman took down the Big Show in the dressing room. Could you share that story with us?
Steve Blackman was laying down on the floor and just minding his own business. And I think Big Show stopped over and he stopped in front of him or something. And I don't know, might have been some words said. I wasn't arguing, nothing like that. But anyway, I think Big Show went to do something and Steve Blackman took both his legs and he hooks Big Show right there, standing there. And Big Show couldn't move. And Blackman never got up off of his back.
How do you think Blackman would have done in the brawl for all? He got injured against Mark Miro, but dominated that fight. And he seemed to me like he probably would have been the guy to win it if he hadn't been injured. Do you think he could have possibly taken out Bart Gunn if they had fought in the brawl for all?
Well, that's another one that you would really, you know, like we say in the back in the day, is too close to call because now you got Bart Gunn there, and Bart was tough. Better believe me, Bart was tough, and so was Steve Blackman. So you know, this one here, you know, you don't even want to bet on. You don't even want to put no money on, man, because you got two guys here. I mean, they going down with the ship. But you know, I don't know. I just don't know. You know, I mean, Blackman might have been able to pull it out because I'm maybe to me Blackman may have been a little bit more quicker on his feet than Bart, but you'd have to be pretty quick because that Bart Gunn was tough.
It seemed that like Blackman may have been more well-rounded, but we'll never know, I guess. Marco says he really enjoyed you managing Doom, and he wants to know if you heard anything about Hacksaw Butch Reed lately, how he's doing. By the way, Marco, I did an interview with him last year. You could check that out, but Teddy probably has a closer update for it.
Well, yeah, we talked to Butch, and like I said, I may have mentioned to you earlier, October the 24th. I think that's when it's going to be. But anyway, you can go to the website. It's called High Spots, highspots.com. Go to that website, and we're doing an auction. It's going to be me, Butch Reed, and Ron Simmons, like a Doom reunion. And so we're going to be doing an auction plus signing autographs, and we'll be doing some live stuff. So yeah, we stay in touch with Butch, and Butcher's doing well. Everybody's alive, and everybody's trying to stay safe. And we just hanging in here, player.
There's a few people that wanted me to ask you, what are your thoughts on Tessa Blanchard? And do you see her ending up in AEW or WWE? There seems to be a bit of a void in WWE right now with some of the ladies out.
Well, I had a chance to meet her, a real nice girl, man, and a great worker. You know what I mean? And like I said, and I really admire her and respect her because, she come up the hard way. You know, she paid a lot of dues too. She's been out here on the indie scene for a while, and then she's been with some of the small, operations and smaller companies and stuff. But she's still on the grind, man, still trying to get there. So my thing for her is, I hope somebody realizes that there's a woman out there with a lot of talent, and there's somebody out there that can help them to draw some money, and I think that she can do that. So hopefully, AEW, WWE, or somebody, give her the opportunity, give her a chance.
What are your thoughts on Ahmed Johnson, who was given a huge push in WWE? Then he went to WCW, seemed to pack on about 100 pounds, and he kind of just faded away. I've seen some pictures of him lately. He looks like he got maybe even close to Viscera's size now.
Well, I didn't really know him. I think when I first got there, I don't know whether he might have even still been there or not. Like I said, I know Bradshaw and Ron. They had the opportunity to work with him. And by me riding with them, I used to hear a lot of stories about them. But like I said, he had a great opportunity there. As far as I know, he got a great run. And then I did hear at one time that. Vince liked him and they wanted to put the world title on him. They wanted to make him world champion. So, but I mean, I don't know what happened there. May have been something he did. Like I said, you just never know what goes on. But only thing I can say about him is that, nobody had really nothing too much bad to say about him. But they, kind of had an ego. But who doesn't in this business? So, like I said, good luck to him. And like I did see a picture of him too, and I saw that he had, kind of put on a little bit of weight. So let's hope and pray for him, and hope he, gets himself in shape and gets some of that weight off, and kind of see about his health. Cause man, it ain't no joke out here now.
Now we all remember your match with Eric Bischoff at the Survivor Series 2005. How was it working with him overall?
Well, uh, you know what, man? To me, and I'm my worstest critic, I guess, but I thought that was the worst shit. I'm telling you, I thought that was just horrible. Uh, I thank God for Boogeyman. He came in at the end and he saved us. And me, not being a worker, you know what I mean, didn't, have too much knowledge of really, what I'm doing there. And, maybe Bischoff probably knew a little bit more than me, but I just thought that we were missing something there. It just didn't have the feel for me. So to me, I just thought it was bad. But Boogeyman saved us at the end, and so I guess we got through it. But I think that was just horrible.
Now, Long Duck Dong tips $5 and is wondering if you ever considered wrestling instead of being a manager slash everything else you've done. I guess you probably didn't really have the build for wrestling.
Well, no, I never think about that part of it anyway, because I mean, when you're managing, you know what I mean. Sometimes you do have to wrestle. Back in the day, I got in six mans with Butch and Ron. I was part of the team. I was in single stuff there, me and Paul Ellering, with the boxing glove wrestling there, and so I think from what I did then was enough for me. I didn't want to be like full time bumping around like that. Like I said, to be in there, bump around every now and then, that's not bad. I can work with that. But to be full time, I don't think I was built for that, man. My little bones, I'd probably been broke up a long time ago. So, but anyway, like I said, I didn't care what I had to do. Whatever I was asked to do, that's what I did. It was my job, and that's it.
What was the worst fan attack situation you either had to witness or deal with directly in all your years in the business?
What kind of attack you say?
Fan attack, either a fan coming after you as a heel or a fan interfering in a match that you're
Oh,
refereeing.
let's see here. I remember one time I was managing at this butcher run. I was managing those guys, and we was in Montgomery, Alabama, and there was this lady. We used to go to Montgomery all the time too. By the way, we was taping WCW, so it was an easy run down to Montgomery, 100 miles. So anyway, they had this lady that was there all the time, and she had this snuff. She used to dip the snuff, and she would always, keep that cup of snuff. And she'd get a few guys, because we there a few guys used to tell me, they used to say, "Man, you got to watch her; she'll get you." And she did get a few guys. And brother, one night she didn't get me good, but she got me. I turned and there she was, and she threw that cup, and she'd been spitting in it too. She'd take there was a like a spit cup. She'd spit the snuff out in this cup, and then she'd dash it on you. So she got it all over my clothes, man. You talking about something stinky, but that was pretty wild. But she was dead serious. But I haven't had too many fan reactions. Not. I've had people yell and cuss and say racial stuff, but other than that, that's about it.
Now, I heard you say that Ice Train was one of the guys you liked managing the least. Why was he so difficult to deal with?
Who was that?
Ice Train, the WCW wrestler.
Yeah, I didn't ever really think he was difficult to deal with. I liked Ice Train. Me and him had a great repertoire. We were okay. I enjoyed being with him. I think Ice Train just what I mean. He wanted to do this, and then again, maybe I think he didn't want to do this. So I believe he never really fully made his mind up that he wanted to do this full time. You know what I mean? I mean, he enjoyed himself while he was doing it. To me, he had a great little run, but with me, he was never really difficult to work with. In fact, I talk to him now and then. And, I was involved at one time with a school here in Atlanta, face to face, and I straight had a chance to come by and talk to some of the students and help them out. So, yeah, with me, he was never difficult to work with.
And last question here. Mamba wants to know if you have any Ming/Barbarian stories. Both of those guys are very popular on this channel.
No. Uh, oh, let's see. I think Barbarian, man. One time, I think we were in Baltimore, Maryland. That may have been the Jim Crockett Cup, or it may have not. I'm not sure what it was, but it might have been a pay-per-view. But anyway, it's a big show there. And we was at this Days Inn, and the Days Inn was like right across from the arena. And back then, everybody, the boys like to drink and stuff. I was drinking, everybody. So Barb was drinking, and so I think the bartender, they wanted to cut him off. He drank enough. You didn't need no more. So Bob didn't want to be cut off. Bob wanted to drink more. So Bob kind of got a little pissed off about that. So Jimmy Valiant will tell you this story. I think Jimmy Valiant was on the elevator or something. I think Jimmy Valiant wanted to come off the elevator, and I think Bob grabbed him and threw him back in the elevator. Then I think they saw Bob and got mad, so then they locked all the doors. They had these glass doors. They locked them. And then they called the police. And so it was like 10, I guess maybe 10 cops or something, but they all come and they're all trying to calm Barbarian down. They're all trying to, stop him. And so finally somebody went and they got his wife and mama, and his wife come down. She looked at Bob and she just slaps him and she grabs him and told, "Come on here." And he walked right on in the elevator and went right on upstairs.
Yeah, we've all heard the stories. He's afraid of her. Maybe you could just answer this one quickly because his band tipped $5. just any quick memory of Raw as Owen the day after the accident?
Who? Rise Owen.
You know when they did the Raw as Owen special on Owen Hart the day after he passed away? Isban is asking any memories of that special show.
No, the memories that I had, I was there at the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, and I was right there when that happened. So uh, that was the part that I had to remember. And let me tell you something, man. Owen was another great guy. What a great guy, to be friends with, man. Always happy, always just, I mean, I never saw him mad. Never. Not me. Never have. But I just enjoyed being around him. So I was there the day that that happened and trying to continue that show, with all that going on. It was just, it was unbelievable, man.
Yeah, probably one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult days of your career, maybe along with that draws. Where can
Yes.
people follow you if they want to look you up on social media?
Well, let me see. I'm at teddylong.com, and then I'm at Teddy Player Long on Twitter and teddylong.com on Facebook, and that's where I'm at.
And they can,
We're getting ready to launch something too, Devin. Going to start a podcast along with my man. I'm sure you know DJ Tony Snow. We're going to get something started. It's going to be the DJ Tony Snow and Teddy Long podcast, and it's going to be called Hold On a Minute Player. So we're trying to get that off the ground, but anybody can follow me at teddylong.com and at Teddy Player Long on Twitter. And I'm on Instagram too.
that's great. And I think we might have you back again in the future because we only got through about 20% of the questions today. So thank you
Well,
very much.
well, thank you very much, man, for having me. And like I said, man, it's been great and to be a part of your show. And anytime you need me, man, just let me know and I'll be happy to come on. Thank you again. Thank you very much. And for all the people that we didn't get a chance to talk to or didn't get a chance to answer your questions, that maybe we can do it, on the next show. And all you people that I did talk to, just keep on being tuned in to Devin Hannibal. And the man is the man.
And last thing, I'll just ask you a question, a personal one.
Okay.
If Nick Aldis gave me a shot at that NWA title on one of these United Wrestling Network pay-per-views, I mean, I know you probably haven't seen me wrestle, but I'm telling you, I could beat this guy. I could take that title. Do you think I would have a chance of beating Nick Aldis if I had that
Well,
opportunity?
I might just be the guy to give you the opportunity. Remember, SW Fury is the next best thing, player, and to have a man, like you be a part of that, I think that would be a great idea, and that's something that I might talk over with the big bosses and see if we can make that happen.
Well, thanks a lot. Really appreciate all your time and the great stories. I'll let you wrap this up however you want to wrap this up with the fans.
Hey man, like I said, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's glad to be able to talk to you guys. And like I said, if you want to keep up with Teddy Long, you can. I'm general manager for SWE Fury. You can pull us up on YouTube, but they're on the Title Match Network, also Fight TV on the CW network in the US. But like I said, it's SWE Fury. A lot of great things happening right there. Big show coming up next week. Boogeyman will definitely be in the house, and so. Like I said, look for me coming soon to back again on the Devin Hannibal show. I'll be back here, players. So thank y'all.